What's up, guys? Rick down here, Holy Moly Outdoors. Thank you so much for joining us for another Tech Tip Tuesday. We are so excited you're here. It's the week before Christmas, if you can hardly believe that. My goodness, we are at Tech Tip Tuesday number 18. Man, I'm so excited. We're talking about a fishery here in the wintertime. That's an alternative that's overlooked for a lot of people. Right now, be honest, steelhead fishing sucks. There's not a lot around. I mean, it's great to go to the river, but with there not being very many fish around, it's not fun not being able to get a chance at catching a fish. So I'm looking for alternatives to go enjoy, and today we're talking about one of those. So you're going to want to stay tuned for this. We're talking some big cutthroat fishing in our local lakes, so stay tuned. Like I said, we're talking wintertime cutthroat fishing, guys. Our state has so many opportunities. There's a lot of open year-round lakes, whether you're on the east side of the state that start to ice up and you have the opportunity at big trout through the ice, or you're on our west side of the lakes that have a lot of year-round with big holdovers and some chances for some migratory trout that really are nice, not only to catch, but they're also great to eat. So we're talking that today. We're covering cutthroat fishing. So there is so many awesome, great stuff out there to use for cutthroat. We're going to keep it simple for you guys. I could go in for hours about the different types of lures and how to fish them. We're going to keep this simple today. We're going to go with just two easy techniques. Flat lining off the back of the boat or a downrigger. So it's all trolling, but you can be very effective with this. Now, bank guys, we'll cover something later for you for some wintertime trout off the bank. A lot of power bait, those kinds of things. But for trolling, we're going to do some cool boat techniques. Make this really simple. I run two different rods, whether I'm flat lining or I'm running a downrigger. The same gear will run and fish out of both, but I kind of set these up a little different to make them work for the way I want to use. So flat lining, guys, very, very effective because a lot of the time the trout in the winter are close to the surface earlier in the mornings, chasing bait. They really don't want to go too far because they're not as active with the warmer water generally. So this point, you want your gear behind the boat pretty far, which allows the fish to come up to it. Boom, you're going to hook a lot of fish. So what I do on my top line rods, first, I like to run a rod that's limber. I want to run a rod that has a little bit of backbone, but something that'll really absorb. If I have that much line out, I want some kind of shock absorbent, so I make sure that I keep those fish on. So I'm running velocity rods, as many of you guys know. There are two great ones that I like for this type of long lining. The first one is this Team Red Kokanee from Velocity. This is the Team Kokanee series rod. It is a 7'3", 4-10. Works great for this fishery. I pair it up with a Warrior Velocity reel, 10-pound test line, Izor, and then I run a top shot of 20 feet of 15-pound fluorocarbon. That helps, makes the line a little bit more invisible, gives a little abrasion resistance. Really, I feel effective in my confidence. Another rod I like to run is the Elite Velocity. It's a blue rod that's glass, a little light as well with some backbone. Really gives some good play to top line setups. So for top lining then, once you get covered on the rod you want, we can go then pick your baits. Now, if I'm just fishing the surface only, so top line I guess can be broken into surface to about 10-15 feet. So the surface fishing, I love to run a small plug, specifically something like a Maglip 2.5. This plug will dive roughly 5 or so feet depending on how fast you're trolling, so you're covering that top water column. They make some great colors. There is even a new size, the 2.0, which is a little smaller. But I have a lot of success trolling these Maglip 2.5s for trout. Specifically a cutthroat, they love them. They're very aggressive this time of year because they're eating a lot of bait fish. You have whether the salmon smolt as they're starting to hatch and come out of our creeks, or you have the residential populations of bait fish, that's what they'll key in. They'll key on perch, babies, a lot of different things of that, and really makes it effective when you're targeting something that matches the hatch. Something else that a lot of guys probably are familiar with, you guys can throw little Rapalas, work great as well. That one's a floater. Trying to think, there's another couple good colors I got here. Like here's a dynamic HD Trout. Had a lot of success with these ones. Some really realistic color patterns. Fish very well, trolled. Very effective there. You could even run some of the jointed patterns out there. Like here is a jointed Rebel. There's also jointed Rapalas. Again, imitating bait fish. We're keeping it simple. One of the standby trues that I love is an F5 flatfish made by Yakima Bait. Very, very effective, trolled by itself as well. So a great top line, very easy, about 100 feet behind the boat. Don't have to do a whole lot. Boom, you're golden. So colors wise, I love fluorescence early, like an orange. This guy here, super bright. Those fish will see it from a long ways off. Bleeding frog, another great one. And then your metallic colors, like a gold and orange, just like this one here, works super, super well. And then something like a silver. This one, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but has a little bit of everything, red, blue, and silver. Great color combos to stick with. Another color I guess you could look for is something like a green. Cutthroat seem to really target and love colors of green. Staying with the top line, but now we're going for that 5 to 10 foot depth range. We want to use a dropper. Now again, what's nice is you can run the same setup and make this happen. Now I specifically have a dropper rod that I like because it can hold a little bit more weight. This one happens to be a Velocity Ninja that many of you may be familiar with. Same reel, the Velocity Warrior, but what I do here is I pair this up, and I will refer to you guys checking out Sam Barrett. He's a guide over in Eastern Washington, and he really showed a lot of people how to do this dropper technique for Kokanee specifically, but it works great on so many species. He really made it happen last year, and I learned a lot from him to do this technique. So I take a dropper set up here with a bead, a sliding snap swivel, another bead, 4 bead chain, 2.5 feet a leader, got a snap swivel here with a dual lock, my dodger of choice, and then down to my rig, which happens to be a green wicket. So the dropper allows me to put a 1/4 ounce to a 1/3, even if I wanted to run more, a 1/2 ounce, and get that lure down in depth. I like running with this dropper setup to have some kind of attractor. So I'm running either a Dick Nite clown dodger like that, maybe even a Gulls Custom dodger. But I like these cup dodgers, the oval size, because these allow a little bit more kick action, really gets them going. As far as what you have behind, we're again keeping it simple. I really like to use spinners. A lot of the time I'm running something that imitates the forage they're fishing. So for my dropper setups, a wicked lure is one of my favorites. I pair that up with a little night crawler piece. That's really what I fish most of the time. It's a very effective setup. And this dropper rod, if I don't have a weight on that swivel, I can run it off the downrigger too and fish very, very effectively. Now, if I'm wanting to change it up and use something a little different, like let's say instead of trolling 1.5 miles, I want to go to 2 miles an hour and fish a little bit faster bait. I'm still looking to imitate bait fish, so keep that in mind. Your wedding ring spinners work really well pretty much year round. I tie some custom ones that work really, really well for those situations, and custom blades, all those different types. So I like those a lot of the time. I also like to keep it simple so I don't have to be doing a whole lot with the rigs themselves. And I run spoons. Honestly, guys, spoons are so overlooked for trout. One of the main ones that so many people know by name because of their effectiveness is like a Dick Nite. So I will run a size 2 here, Dick Nite, and fish that about 3 feet behind one of those Dick Nite Dodgers. Or if I'm speeding up a little bit, I can run one of these teardrop style. This happens to be a Gulls Custom, really effective. If the bait fish profile is not that small size and I want to bump it up, I have some Rocky Mountain tackle spoons here that imitate a little bit larger bait fish profile. I make some custom ones myself. Shoot, you can even go to another very productive Gulls Custom design of that Wonder Bread. Very effective to imitate the spoons as a forage fish for what's in the lake. Now, if I'm running spoons, I generally like to put those on the downrigger. They're a little bit easier to fish that way. If I'm sticking to that dropper setup, I like running some more of that wedding ring style wicked lures because I can easily monitor that rod a lot better. A lot of different colors for spinners like these wickeds you see here. The greens and blacks work really well for trout. You can even throw some pinks in there. It's a great highlighter color dependent on the water. Another bait that I've come across in the last year and a half, 2 years is from Old Goat Lures. This one happens to be a 3D printed lure, which is really, really cool. And I've had a lot of success with these. So these ones here on the far right are from Old Goat. These are their 2.8 size, hot pink, black with a orange tip, perch, one of my favorite colors there for big trout, and then this hot orange. Really works effective when you're targeting bait fish that are almost 3 inches. Then you have some of their micro 1.8 inch size, which works great as well. I rig them up with a dual hook, super effective. Those work great, trolled behind some of these bigger style teardrops. This happens to be a Rocky Mountain tackle. Here's another one of their custom new colors, which works awesome as of 2018. This one was one of my favorites. You can also run small spoons like a Godtooth, which are these guys here in the middle, which have a great little nose wiggle, and you put a little bit of either worm or a maggot, and boom, you're catching fish. So very effective there. Just a couple lures, super, super easy. I will mention a couple other ones here because I know I will get smacked if I don't. Again, bait fish. We're thinking that what's super easy to imitate a bait fish pattern without having to actually have bait? Well, how about a little cut plug? And one of these little mini Kokanee style cut plugs from Brad's. I've custom painted this one. They are deadly effective on imitating a cut plug herring. So you don't have to mess with bait. You can set the heck out of the chamber inside. You can even put a strip of herring in there if you really want to. Those are very effective. I run those 36 inches minimum behind one of those teardrop style flashers off the downrigger. Work very, very well. Yeah, I mean, there's some other great bait fish imitating patterns from, we got Olympic tackle here with a wiggle bill. Works a lot like a crankbait on a plug with a fly. So this really dives, wiggles, creates some great action. Fish drive wild, tipped with a little bait. Works very effective there. Or you can run and grab something like a just straight, almost herring style pattern, like this guy here, to imitate some bait fish. Run that shorter behind a Dodger, like a Dick Nite, that really kicks that around. You guys can experiment and have the fun of catching these fish on whatever you want. Trout are not complicated. But what I like to stick to, being the simple method, is imitating bait fish patterns. Know what your lake has, whether there's salmon smolt that's hatching, baby perch that's hatching. You can catch a trout and open up their stomach, find out what's going on. They may just be eating bugs and you happen to find an aggressive fish that track down your pattern, but you guys want to have something out there. I usually vary it up. You can run the pop gear and a wedding ring with a night crawler. Totally up to you guys, but what I showed you there is just a couple great baits that I love to do. Keeping it simple, trolling for some big cutthroat trout. So, and one other thing we can't forget to talk about is scent. Because we are trying to imitate bait fish, I love using fishy smelling scents. Whether it's herring or for sardine, anchovy, something along those lines that has a fishy taste, smell to these cutthroat, because they are targeting bait fish a majority of the time when they're getting past 16 inches in length. So this is a great chance to use something like one of the AN Sporting scent sticks like you guys see a lot on my channel. Those are great for fishing on the spoons, the plugs, all those different things, because it's a super easy applicator and really sticks well to those baits. If you're using something like a wicked lure, you can use a gel paste scent that you can stick up inside that hoochie, really feel that, make it really effective. There's some great UV ones out there as well. So whether it's any kind of scent, honestly, or if you're tipping with bait, one or the other is going to help you get more strikes. So really effective when you're using these types of presentations, and add just that scent as the kicker to take those fish to the next level. Thank you so much for watching this today. Hope you learned a lot and have something in your back pocket to go and do when fishing slow. I mean, fishing for these wintertime cutthroat, it's a great way to get your boat ready as we have some more blackmouth openers. I know I can't wait myself to get out and fish Area 9 when it opens up. So I will be taking my boat out and doing some of this wintertime fishing to kind of dial in all my gear, get it all prepped and ready, so when the openers happen, it's go time. So thank you so much, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this, and we'll catch you guys on the water. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe below. There's a lot more content coming soon. So take care, guys. Fish on!